The red sun of Mars was setting slowly behind the glass dome of New Terra City. Inside a small cafe near the spaceport, life moved quietly. The cafe, called Sweet Void, was known for its Earth-style desserts. Humans, aliens, and other strange beings came there to taste something different. Rayan, a young human man, worked behind the counter. His life was simple and boring. Every day, he served chocolate tarts, coffee cubes, and oxygen pops to travelers from across the galaxy. He never asked questions. He never looked for trouble. But on that day, everything changed. The cafe bell rang softly as someone entered. Rayan looked up and saw her. She wasn't like the others. Tall, slim, and glowing slightly blue, the girl looked confused. Her silver hair floated like smoke, and her large violet eyes scanned the room carefully. She wore no shoes, no ID tag, no translator badge. That was strange. Every alien needed one on Mars. She walked slowly to the counter and stared at the display case. Rayan tried to speak, but she didn't look at him. Her eyes were fixed on one thing, a chocolate tart. Without asking, she picked it up with her delicate hand. Rayan opened his mouth to stop her, but before he could say anything, she bit it. Time slowed down. As her teeth sank into the dessert, a strange light flashed in her eyes. The cafe lights flickered. A small alien sitting nearby dropped his spoon and looked around in fear. Rayan stood still. He felt something, a pulse, a heat, a strange pull in his chest. The girl suddenly gasped and dropped the tart. She stumbled backward and held her head. What is this? She whispered in broken English. Rayan jumped over the counter and caught her before she fell. Are you okay? He asked, confused and scared. Her eyes looked into his deep, bright, full of questions and fear. I shouldn't be here, she said. They're looking for me. Who? Rayan asked. She shook her head. No time. I didn't mean to take it. I was just hungry. Rayan helped her sit down on a chair in the corner of the cafe. The few customers inside were watching, whispering. Something strange was happening. Rayan felt it too. She looked at him. This food, it's not normal. It woke something. Rayan was about to ask what she meant, but suddenly the door opened again. Two large figures entered, tall, with metal armor and glowing red eyes. They scanned the room like machines. Hunters. The girl's face turned pale. She leaned forward and whispered, "Don't let them find me. Please." Rayan's heart raced. He had never done anything brave in his life. But something in her voice, in her eyes, made him nod. He turned quickly and called out, "Welcome, table for two?" The armored alien said nothing. They looked around, their red eyes landing on the half-eaten tart on the floor. Rayan moved fast. He picked it up and threw it in the waste bin. The hunters stepped closer. Rayan smiled nervously. "New dessert, very spicy. Make some aliens sick. Want to try?" The taller one growled. "Seen a female like this?" He showed a glowing photo. Rayan glanced at it. It was her. But in the photo, she looked different. Cold, powerful, dangerous. He swallowed. "No, sir. Only dessert lovers today." The hunters looked around again. One stepped toward the back door. Inside the corner booth, the girl was hidden under a surface droid cover. She held her breath. Finally, the hunters left. No words, no goodbye. Rayan locked the door behind them. He turned to her. "Who are you?" She stood slowly. "My name is Lyra, and I think I just made a big mistake." Rayan stared. "That was just a chocolate tart." "No," she said. "It wasn't. That dessert had something ancient. Something powerful." Rayan looked back at the trash bin. "What did I just serve you?" Outside, the night was dark. Inside, the cafe was silent, and far above them, in a black ship hidden in the clouds, a red light turned on. They knew. Lyra had awakened, and nothing would ever be the same again. *, the cafe was dark now. Only the soft glow of the cleaning bots moved across the floor. Outside, the Martian winds howled against the dome. Rayan sat across from her, still trying to believe what had just happened. He looked at Lyra, the alien girl with glowing skin. Silver hair and fear in her eyes. She looked human. But she wasn't. And yet, something about her felt more human than anyone he knew. He broke the silence. "You said they're hunting you. Why?" Lyra looked down. Her fingers touched the table gently, like she was afraid it would break. "I wasn't supposed to be here," she said quietly. "I was born on a ship, far from this planet. My people. They never let us come close to Earth or Mars. Then why did you come?" Rayan asked. She looked at him. "I didn't. I escaped." Rayan leaned in. "Escaped from what?" She hesitated, then finally spoke. "From who they wanted me to become." She explained that she came from a race called the Solari, powerful beings who controlled light and emotion. They were peaceful once, but war changed them. They began to train their young to control feelings and to destroy those who still had them. "I was different," she said. "I felt too much. They said I was broken." Rayan frowned. "So they chased you because you felt emotions?" She nodded. "Yes, and when I tasted that dessert, it unlocked something." Rayan remembered the flicker in her eyes, the way the cafe lights blinked, the way the hunters reacted. What did it unlock? Lyra's voice was low. "Passion, emotion, real human feelings. And now ... I can't stop it." She stood up, shaking. Her hands sparked with soft light. The metal sugar dispenser on the counter rattled on its own. "I feel everything now," she whispered. Fear, hunger, warmth, pain, all at once. Rayan stood beside her. "Hey ... breathe. Slow. You're safe here." "No, I'm not," she said, her voice shaking. They felt the change. "They'll track me again." Rayan took a deep breath. He didn't understand all of this, but he knew one thing: she needed help. And no one else would give it. He grabbed his cafe keycard. "Come with me. I know a place." He led her through the back hallway, past the storeroom, into a small service tunnel. Behind an old supply rack, he opened a hidden door, a storage room he sometimes used to nap during long shifts. Lyra sat down on an old blanket. Her body was glowing faintly now, like moonlight. "Why are you helping me?" she asked, eyes watching him closely. Rayan paused. "Because I think you're telling the truth. And I think someone like you doesn't deserve to be hunted." She stared at him for a long time, then smiled, just a little dot. It was her first human smile. But outside, danger was growing far above the city. Inside a silent black ship, the hunters were not gone. They had stopped on a nearby rooftop. One of them pulled a small device from his belt. A red light blinked on it, pulsing slowly. "She's close," the taller one said, "and unstable." "Do we wait?" asked the other. "No," the leader replied. "We follow the scent." They activated emotion sensors, designed to track Solari who lost control, and Lyra had just begun to lose hers. Back in the storage room, Rayan sat near the door while Lyra rested. Suddenly she spoke, eyes still closed. "I dreamed of Earth when I was small. Not cities or ships, just soft light, warm food, laughter." She opened her eyes. "Your dessert gave me that feeling," Rayan smiled. "It was just chocolate." She shook her head. "No, it was more. It was human. And I want more of it." Outside, the hallway light flickered. Rayan stood up, alert. Something was coming. It began with a recipe, one that was never meant to be used again. Years ago, during the Earth-Mars border war, a scientist named Dr. Lucan Hale created a spice, extracted from an extinct earth flower. Its real name was lost. Soldiers called it heartfire. It didn't explode. It didn't burn. It did something worse. It made soldiers feel everything. Pain, fear, regret, love. It was banned, buried, erased. But one small trace ended up in a dessert. Rayan sat in the back of his cafe, staring at the II cooking unit. Its screen blinked with data logs. Had been searching the system for over an hour. Query, chocolate tart, batch, 248. The screen blinked again. Then quietly the truth appeared. Ingredient added, trace element, heartfire compound. Stored in secret flavor file, accessed by unknown. Rayan leaned back, shocked. Someone had added it to the tart without permission. That same tart Lyra had bitten. The one that changed her. He stood and looked toward the hidden storage room where Lyra was resting. She had fallen asleep earlier, breathing slow, wrapped in an old blanket, but her body still gave off that soft blue glow. Her fingers twitched now and then, like she was dreaming of something far away. Rayan watched her. He had seen thousands of aliens before, but none like her. She wasn't just running from her people, she was running from something inside herself. Suddenly, Lyra's eyes opened. "I heard it," she said, voice soft. "Heard what?" Rayan asked, stepping closer. "The name. Heartfire. That's what they gave us during early tests." "I thought it was a myth." Rayan blinked. "You've heard of it before?" She nodded slowly. "Our elders whispered it. Said it made us weak. Said it was poison." "But you didn't feel weak," Rayan said. She looked at him. "No, I felt alive." She sat up, more alert now. "Someone wanted this to happen," she whispered. "Someone put that spice in your dessert." Rayan nodded. "Yeah, but who? And why?" Just then, the cafe lights flickered again. A warning tone beeped softly from the AI system. "Motion detected. Rooftop UNIT. Unauthorized accessory," and checked the screen. "Two heat signatures. Heavy, not human. They're back," he said. Lyra stood up fast. Her glow was brighter now, like her body was reacting to the danger. "You have to leave me," she said. "They'll destroy everything." Rayan shook his head. "No, I'm not leaving. We find the truth together." He led her quickly out of the storage room, through a hidden stairwell behind the cafe's freezer. They entered the basement, a place Rayan had never gone before. His boss told him it was sealed. But when he scanned his keycard, the door opened with a soft click. Inside was a lab. Old machines, vats, screens filled with forgotten files, and in the center, a glowing crate marked with Earth military symbols, property of Project Heartfire. Rayan's voice was barely a whisper. "My cafe was built over a lab." Lyra stepped forward, eyes wide. "This isn't just a cafe, it's a test site." Rayan moved to the console. The files were old, but one thing was clear: Heartfire. Spice, emotional amplifier. Only works on species with suppressed emotion centers, like the Solari. He turned to Lyra. "That dessert wasn't an accident, it was a trigger." Lyra looked at her hands. They sparked again, glowing brighter. "I'm the weapon," she said. "They made me the test." Rayan shook his head. "No, you're not a weapon, you're proof. That emotion is power." Suddenly, the wall screen blinked red. Intrusion. ALERT front entrance breach. Rayan grabbed a small MP blaster from the lab table and looked at Lyra. "We need to move, now." But Lyra stood still, eyes fixed on a small container beside the crate. Inside was more Heartfire spice, glowing faintly. She picked it up. "One more bite. And I can unlock everything." Rayan looked at her. "Are you sure?" She gave a small smile. "No, but I want to remember what it means. To feel." Above them, heavy footsteps moved through the cafe. The hunters had entered, and downstairs, something ancient was waking again, inside Lyra's heart. Asterisk, she didn't hide this time. Not under tables, not behind walls, not even behind Rayan. Lyra stood in the middle of the cafe as the front door opened. Cold air rushed in. Red light from the Martian street spilled across the floor. Two hunters walked in. Heavy boots, metal armor, long black coats that brushed the floor. They saw her. She saw them. No one spoke. Rayan stood beside her. He could feel the tension in the way. Air like wires pulled tight. He whispered, "We can run." Back exit. Lyra didn't move. No more running. Her voice was calm. But her body glowed. Not soft and blue like before. Now it was white. Like a storm trapped in human skin. The taller hunter stepped forward. His voice was deep and cold. "Lyra of the Solari, you were ordered to return, alive or broken." She lifted her chin. "I'm not coming back. I remember now, all of it." The second hunter scanned her with a small device. It beeped fast. "She's unstable. Too much exposure to heartfire. Remove before full awakening." Lyra didn't flinch. Too late. Without warning, the taller hunter raised his weapon, a pulse rifle meant to stun. "Not kill," he fired. The energy bolt flew straight at her chest. Rayan shouted, "Lyra!" But the bolt never touched her. It froze mid-air, hovering. Then, cracked like glass and fell in pieces. Lyra hadn't moved. Her eyes were glowing now, not just color, but light pouring out like fire. "I know who I am," she said. Her voice echoed, as if spoken by more than one person. Rayan stared in awe. The cafe trembled. Chairs slid on their own. Lights above sparked and popped. The hunters took a step back. The taller one growled, "You were not meant to feel." Lyra stepped forward. "You made us numb, cold, silent. But the humans, they feel everything. And that's their power." Rayan stepped beside her, still holding the EMP blaster. "She's not a weapon. She's a person." The hunters ignored him, but Lyra didn't. She turned slightly toward Rayan and said, "You were the first person who didn't look at me like a thing." Rayan blinked. "You bit my dessert without asking." She laughed, short but real. Then turned back to the hunters. "Tell your leaders," she said. "I choose my own path." The second hunter reached for a beacon to call for backup. Lyra raised her hand. The beacon melted. Right there in his palm. The second hunter screamed. His glove smoked. Sparks flew. The taller hunter stepped forward again, this time aiming for Rayan. "If we cannot take her, we will take him." Rayan's heart jumped, but Lyra was faster. In a flash of light, she moved between them. The energy that burst from her body knocked both hunters back, slamming them into the cafe wall. They groaned, tried to rise. Couldn't. Then silence. Only the sound of Rayan's heavy breath and the soft crackle of broken lights. Lyra lowered her hands. Her glow faded slowly. She looked tired now, pale. Her knees shook. Rayan caught her before she could fall. "You did it," he said quietly. "No," she whispered. "This was just the start." Behind the cafe, emergency lights began to blink. Rayan helped her sit down. "What do you mean?" Lyra pointed to the sky through the cafe's clear dome. Above them, in the clouds, a Solari ship hovered, silent, hidden, watching. "They never sent just hunters," she said. "They sent watchers, scientists, controllers." Rayan looked up, his chest tight. "Then we leave, tonight," Lyra nodded. "But not just to run." "To do what?" She met his eyes. "To find the others like me. Before the Solari do." Far above them, on the dark ship, a voice crackled through static. "Target activated. Phase 1 complete. Prepare for emotional lockdown." Inside the cafe, Rayan and Lyra packed quickly, taking the last piece of heartfire spice and the cafe's AI logs. As they stepped outside into the Martian night, the city lights flickered. Again, not from damage, but from her presence. She wasn't just changing herself. She was starting to change the world. The sun hadn't risen yet, but the cafe was full of lights. Not from lamps, from fire. Lyra's energy still burned in the walls. The counter was cracked. The windows buzzed with static. The air smelled of melted metal and scorched wires. Rayan stood in the center, eyes scanning the damage. His hands were shaking, but not from fear, from realization that this place was never what he thought. Lyra sat in a chair near the front window. Her skin had stopped glowing, but her eyes still held fire. She looked tired, hollow. "We can't stay here," she said. "I know," Rayan replied, "but before we leave, I want answers." He turned toward the hallway behind the kitchen. There was a door there, locked since he first started working. A door only the owner could open, and the owner had just arrived. The sound of boots echoed on the tile. Mr. Grant, the cafe's silent manager, walked in through the back, calm and clean, as if nothing had happened. A tall man with gray eyes and a voice like cold water. He looked at the broken tables, the fallen droid, the melted chair. Then he looked at Lyra. "So," he said, "it finally happened." Rayan stepped in front of her. "You knew?" Grant nodded slowly. "Of course. This cafe is not for food. It's for watching, testing, measuring." Rayan's voice rose. "Testing what?" Grant pointed at Lyra. "Her, and others like her." Lyra stood now, her voice low and sharp. "You used me." Grant shook his head. "No, I freed you. We knew the Solari would send someone special, but we didn't know what you could become until the dessert." Rayan stepped forward, fists clenched. "You put heartfire in the tart." Grant smiled. "It worked, didn't it?" For a moment, silence. Then Lyra spoke. "You think I'm your experiment, your weapon?" Grant nodded. "You are." Her eyes narrowed. "No, I'm not yours." "Not anymore." She raised her hand. Sparks danced across her fingers. Grant didn't move. "Go ahead. Burn me, destroy this place. But the network has already seen what you've done. They know what you are. And soon, the world will know." Rayan grabbed Lyra's hand. "Don't give him what he wants." Lyra breathed hard. The sparks faded. She turned to Grant. "You're not in control anymore." Grant smiled, slow and thin. "No," he said. "But you're still inside my machine." He turned and pressed a button on his wristband. With a loud click, the cafe walls shimmered. Rayan watched in shock as the wallpaper disappeared, revealing dark metal panels, scanners, and glowing cables. The entire cafe transformed into something else. Not a shop, not a kitchen, a lab, a control center, a trap. "This is where the program began," Grant said, "and this is where it ends." Rayan grabbed the EMP blaster again. "Back away." Grant stepped aside. "Run if you like." The cafe recorded everything. Every step she took, every word you spoke. He looked at Lyra. "You're already a signal." Lyra didn't speak. She walked to the center of the cafe, now glowing with hidden technology. She looked around. At the machines. At the sensors. At the ghosts of her past. Then she placed both hands on the center table and pushed her energy into the walls. The lights exploded. Screens shattered. Circuits melted. Rayan shielded his eyes as the cafe screamed, the metal crying, the walls shaking. Grant tried to stop her, reaching for the console, but it was too late. With one final burst, Lyra burned the entire system. Down. Then silence. Smoke rose. Wires dripped. The cafe was dead. Grant lay on the floor, coughing, furious, beaten. Lyra looked down at him. No more traps, no more tests. Rayan walked to her side. "Let's go. There's nothing left here." But Lyra paused. "There's one last thing," she said. She turned to Rayan. "Before we leave, I need to know who I was before they changed me." Rayan nodded. And together, they walked out of the broken cafe into the cold Martian wind. Above them, in orbit, the Solari ship waited, watching, calculating. And far away, on Earth, a signal had already been received. Lyra was no longer hidden. She was now a name in every system, and everyone wanted to find her. The sky was burning, not with fire, but with light, chasing, scanning, searching. Two figures ran across the Martian surface. Dust whipped around their legs. Sirens echoed across the domes behind them. Rayan and Lyra were no longer escaping, they were breaking out. The Martian city of New Terra shrank behind them. The glass domes, the towers, the cafes, all gone now. In front of them, the outer zone. Wide land, full of silence and secrets, no cameras, no guards, only dust, wind, and an old landing pad that hadn't been used in years. Rayan gripped the controls of the stolen hoverbike. "We'll make it." Lyra, sitting behind him, held on tightly. "We have to." Behind them, in the sky, the Solari ship moved closer, silent, silver, and watching as they sped over red hills. Lyra looked up at the stars. "They never wanted us to leave," she said. "They want control, silence, obedience." Rayan glanced back. "And you gave them fire instead," she smiled. "No, we did." They reached the landing pad, a cracked stone circle. Surrounded by old towers, in the center stood a shuttle. Dusty, half buried. Rayan jumped off the bike and ran to the control panel. "This is it. My uncle used to work cargo routes. Said he left a backup ride here in case of emergency." Lyra followed. "This is an emergency." Rayan tapped the panel. Nothing happened. He hit it. Cursed. "Come on." Lyra placed her hand over his her. Glow returned, soft blue, steady. The panel blinked. Powered up, Rayan looked at her. "You're full of surprises." "I'm still learning," she said. "But I know one thing now." "What?" She looked him in the eyes. "I want to be free." The shuttle door opened. Inside. It smelled of metal and time. Rayan jumped into the pilot seat. Systems were old, but working. Lyra scanned the nav system. "There's a route to the asteroid colonies, places without Solari reach. No ID checks." Rayan nodded. "Let's fly." But before he could lift off, alarms blared. Outside, a beam of white energy slammed into the ground. Dust exploded. The Solari ship had arrived. From its belly, 3 figures floated down. Commanders. Not hunters. Clothed in silver armor, glowing with power. They didn't land. They hovered. Eyes cold. Mouths silent. Rayan tightened his grip on the controls. What now? Lyra stepped outside. Rayan tried to stop her. "Lyra, wait." She didn't wait. She stood on the ramp, her hair moving in the wind, her glow rising. No more fear. One of the commanders spoke, voice like metal grinding. "You are broken. Your feelings are not evolution. They are infection." Lyra raised her hand. "Then I am the cure." She sent out a wave of light, not an attack, but a signal. A burst of emotion so strong, even the wind seemed to pause. The commanders flinched. Their armor glitche. Their glow flickered. Rayan saw it. "You're hurting them." "No," Lyra said. "I'm reminding them." The lead commander shouted, "End her!" But before they could strike, Lyra unleashed a second wave, stronger, deeper. This one wasn't power. It was grief. The pain of being hidden. The sorrow of being told she was wrong for feeling. The loneliness, the silence, the ache of never being seen as a person. It hit the commanders like a storm. They fell, not dead, not destroyed, but overwhelmed. Rayan pulled her back into the shuttle. "We have to go." Lyra collapsed into the seat beside him, drained but awake. He hit the thrusters. The engines roared. The shuttle rose. Mars fell away below them. In the sky, the Solari ship didn't chase. Not because it couldn't, because it was afraid. Afraid of what Lyra had become. Afraid of who might listen. As they broke past the edge of atmosphere, stars opened like a gate. Lyra looked out the window, breathing slowly. Rayan flew in silence for a moment, then asked, "Where do we go now?" She turned. "To him, anywhere we want." But far behind them, deep in Solari space, Something darker was watching the screen, not a hunter. Not a commander. A council. One voice spoke. She's not just infected. She's leading a new kind of war. We must silence her. Before others awaken too. She walked into the storm, not away from it, not around it. Into it. Stars exploded above. The engines of 100 ships thundered across the black. Solari warships filled the skies like ghosts, and in the center of it all, alone on the edge of a space station, stood Lyra, not hidden, not afraid. Alive, awake, human. Rayan stood behind her inside the command room of the station. The place was old, built during the first colonies, and now used by smugglers and outlaws. But today, it had become something else. A message tower. A voice to the galaxy. Rayan tapped keys quickly, connecting signals across channels. You sure about this? He asked. Lyra looked out the window. They want silence. I want sound, truth, emotion. She turned to him. I'm not going to run anymore. I'm going to speak. The signal went live, across planets, colonies, cargo, ships, military feeds. A face appeared. Her face. No name. No ID, just a voice. She spoke. My name was given to me by those who wanted control. But today, I choose my own. I am not Solari. I am not weapon. I am not mistake. I am something you feared. I feel, and I won't apologize for it. The words spread like sparks in dry air. In labs, in prisons, in military academies, those with emotion inhibitors paused, looked up, felt. The Solari Council reacted fast. They sent ships, troops, silence codes, but it was too late. The signal had already passed the speed of fear. Rayan watched the monitors. Incoming, he said. 30 Solari warships. They're surrounding us. Lyra stood still. They'll try to destroy the tower, Rayan said. She nodded. Let them try. She stepped outside, onto the upper platform, facing space directly. Solari fighters locked on. Her glow returned, brighter than ever. But now it wasn't wild. It was focused. Controlled. The first missile launched. Rayan's heart stopped. But Lyra lifted her hand, slowly, gracefully, and the missile disassembled mid-air. No explosion. Just particles falling like snow. The next one launched. She blocked it. 2. The Solari ships paused. For the first time in generations. They were confused. A voice echoed across the Solari fleet. Not Lyra's. One of their own. A young soldier. Voice trembling. I feel something. Another spoke. She's right. We were never machines. Another. What are we doing? The council's voice cracked through command channels. Shut them down. Full emotional lockdown. Execute protocol. 0. But it didn't work, because Lyra's signal wasn't just code. It was a feeling, and it had already entered their hearts. Rayan ran to the platform. Lyra, you did it. They're stopping. But Lyra was on her knees now. Her power had reached its peak. She looked up at Rayan, smiling weakly. This is what it means, she whispered. To give everything, and still be free. He held her as the last of her light faded. Not gone, just resting. He carried her back inside. Not as a weapon, not as a test, but as a person. A girl who dared to feel in a world that punished feelings. Weeks later, a cafe opened again. Not on Mars, but on a small, quiet moon. It served desserts. Simple ones. People came from all over, not for food, but for stories. And one painting on the wall. A silver-haired girl smiling with a slice of chocolate. Tart. Rayan ran the place. He kept one chair empty near the window, just in case. One day, she returned, and above them, in the stars, something was changing. The Solari Council no longer ruled by silence. New movement had begun, not powered by weapons. But by something far more dangerous. Emotion. She was more human than human. And now, the galaxy was learning how to feel again.